Number 5, Black Limit. This was probably the most eventful book out of all 5. It was just so full of great lines. I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 favorite lines of this book. So again, I'm sharing one at the beginning and one in the end. Favorite quote number 1. I do not write porn. I write romance novels. There was so many things that happened. Blake had shot Aiden in the head, and Aiden is now in a coma in the hospital. That's where we're at. Ellie is pregnant. Ellie had been staying at the hospital with Aiden. She also needed to clean herself up because she's throwing up a lot and she's not sleeping very much. And she needs some prenatal vitamins or something. There's no mention of her doing that. I'm really worried for her. Aiden's mom shows up. Aiden is kind of estranged to his parents. They're divorced, and his mom kind of has a she knows what's best, even though it may be against someone else's wants. She's a nurse, so she knows what she's talking about. So she tries to get Aiden moved to a different hospital. His current doctors are it's really not good for you to be moving him right now until we can get him out of the coma. And she's like, I think I know what's best. Ellie doesn't have any say because she's technically not family. She goes back to her apartment at one point. Blake breaks in, pulls a gun out on her. They wrestle a little bit. He tries to kill her because he's still really pissed that she pressed charges about the attempted rape. He also lost his job, the interim CEO for Aiden's company. So now he has nothing else to lose. During this struggle between the two in her apartment, he starts to choke her. She grabs this pen and jams it in his throat and ends up killing him. A week down the line, after his mom moved him to a different hospital, I think in Boston. I've been doing this whole time with no microphone. Okay, that probably sounds better. And immediately, the first thing that he does when he wakes up out of the coma, he's gotta get it on with Ellie in the hospital bed. And then he proposes to her again. I believe it when I see it, okay? Why does he need to keep proposing? Just get through all of these things that you guys are dealing with. Get out of a coma. So after giving her this giant orgasm in the hospital bed, I don't even know how he has energy to do this. Okay, so they have this small little wedding at the hospital. There is this beautiful courtyard. Aiden pulls his connections and he gets a dress for Ellie. She takes a shower at the hospital. Her parents somehow got there. They had an hour to get there. Maybe he sent his private helicopter or his private jet or something. But right before she could walk down the aisle, 2 police officers arrest her for Blake's murder. Aiden thinks that she has second thoughts, where is she? They wait several minutes. He calls his lawyers. Well, the first lawyer that he called, he thought was a really good defense attorney to make sure that she does not incriminate herself. Side note, I don't understand the timeline because when Ellie first finds out that she's pregnant, she's 5 weeks along or something. Actually, Aiden must have been in his coma for 5 weeks because she gets a sonogram and the doctor says she's 7 weeks along. While she was talking to Aiden's mom, Aiden was still in the coma. Ellie told Aiden's mom then, when Aiden was still in the coma, that she was 12 weeks along. But then the next thing that we're told, Aiden was in the coma for only 8 days. But that doesn't make sense with Ellie's pregnancy. The timeline does not match up with the baby. And while Aiden's in the coma, he can hear everything that's going on around him. He can sense Ellie's presence. He can sense his parents' presence. He wishes them to go away. Everything that Ellie tells him while he's in the coma, he knows that it's her and he's listening. I mean, I've never been in a coma, but that sounds right. Ellie was taken out of jail on bail. The original defense attorney that Aiden had found, when they finally got to sit down and have a conversation, he doesn't even believe that Ellie is innocent. So he got fired. But it's not the only reason he got fired. The second reason why they fired this defense attorney, I don't understand this. He was mad that Ellie was a romance novel author, first of all, that she was self-published, second of all, and that he wrote thriller novels, tried to get them published traditionally through publishing houses. He keeps getting rejected. He's mad at Ellie. One of my favorite quotes. This leads into it. They arrested me for a crime I didn't commit. The last thing I need right now is some wannabe writer complaining about the quality of my writing just because you can't sell your book. That's not my problem. And I don't need you representing me if you feel that way about me. So that lawyer was fired. I mean, this lawyer went all out lecturing her how she's not a real author and how dare she self-publish her porn books. It's all because he is jealous of her success, okay? Ellie and Aiden are now supposedly living in a suite in a hotel, so the hospital is forgotten. Aiden just woke up from a coma, but forget that. So some more time passes and now Ellie is like 19 or 20 weeks because she goes in for another checkup. They find out the sex, which it's a boy. And since Ellie is out on bail, she can't leave the state. And they're currently in Massachusetts, so she can't go back home to New York. They have to stay in the hotel. Aiden feels better to go back to work. He has an appointment in New York that he leaves her alone. He doesn't want to leave her alone. She shouldn't be left alone. She really needs to talk to Caroline's grave to get some advice from all of this that she's dealing with. Going to her grave site is better than, just talking to her where she is at the hotel. Her grave site is out of state. It's like in Connecticut. She sneaks away, risks her being put back in jail, but some things happen. The Uber that she took got in a car accident or something, and she ended up taking the train back. And then when she got back, Aiden got back early and was wondering where she was, and so she had to tell him. He got all mad at her, but nothing ever came of it. She didn't go back to jail. Through all this stress, almost had a miscarriage. Like, she went to the hospital, bleeding excessively, but she talked to the baby and said, "It's okay, stay," and she lowered her stress. Aiden proposes for the 600th time, and then Aiden and Ellie finally got married. Aiden hires a wedding planner. Ellie doesn't worry about any details other than picking out a dress. They have a fancy big wedding where everyone's invited, and she has the baby. Her baby's name is Tristan Finn. That's kind of cute, Tristan. The murder charges were dropped, and they live happily ever after on Aiden's yacht in the Caribbean. Oh, and we never got closure about Tom. Another favorite line of the book, his words send shivers through my body.